Hello, welcome to today's stained glass class. My name is Brian McMillan. I'm co-founder of a company called Prairie Stained Glass. We are in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, and proud of it. And we have been doing stained glass for approximately 35 years now. We also are part of Walrus Publications. As Walrus Publications, we put out about 17 or 18 different how-to and pattern books you may be familiar with. Today, what I'd like to show you is how to make an arts and crafts mission style four-sided stained glass lamp. So this is what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to show you how to prepare your pattern so you can cut this out with a ruler. I'll also be showing you how to solder and assemble this lamp. And at the end of the video, we'll be talking about different ways that we can use this lamp, either as a table lamp or a wall lamp or a few different other options. So that is our plan for today. So I'm going to go and get all my materials and we'll get going. This is the pattern that I'm going to be making today. This is a four-sided arts and crafts or mission style lamp. Basically all the lines are straight, so in some ways that's a good thing, and other ways it's not so good. If you do a curved line and it's not exactly perfect, it's not the end of the world, but a straight line should look straight. So the best way to cut your glass patterns out so that they are straight, your glass pieces out so they are straight, is to use a ruler. The ruler that I would recommend that you use this is actually called a wallpaper ruler. They're a little thicker than the ones you'd use for stationary work, for underlining a heading on a piece of paper. They're thick so that there's not a lot of give to them, and your glass cutter will just roll right along the edge of this ruler. Also, we put a piece of cork on the back of it. The cork is available in 36-inch strips. I have rulers, this is the smallest I use, but we have them up to 48 inches long. And you can once you find a good thick ruler, you can put the cork on. You can probably buy that at your local stained glass shop. So this is a really good ruler for cutting and also for any other purpose. So what I'm going to use it for, first of all, is to extend the lines on this pattern so that as I go through this process, you'll understand why I'm doing that. So what I want to do is I'm going to cut these two pieces here out of opalescent glass. And you can see the problem is if you're using opalescent glass, you can't see through your pattern to cut directly on top of it as I normally would for a window or another project where I was using clear glass, clear cathedral glass that's easy to see through. So the opalescent glass is a little different to work with. So just follow along and it'll all make sense as we continue. So the first thing I'm going to do is extend all the lines which relate to these two glass pieces that I'm cutting out for my lamp. Important to take your time, line this up properly, because if you don't line it up properly, your pieces still won't be cut right, and you either end up doing a lot more grinding than you have to, or you don't have as accurate a fit as you could have if you took a little more time and care. These lines on this side were partially extended, but they're not quite long enough for me to see. I was using a fine-tipped permanent marker. This is the kind of pen that is permanent on paper, etc., but not on glass, so it comes off very easily. We use this to write numbers on the glass. We use it to, put X's on things when we've cut all the pieces we have to. We also use it for drawing our patterns. So this was perfect for this particular use. So as you can see, I've extended the lines on my pattern so that I can now continue on with the glass cutting phase. I took a piece of the glass that I want to cut for this, and I cut it 1/2 inch taller than the actual piece of glass that I need. It is tempting to just cut it the exact height that you need, but inevitably I found that I don't get a fit that I'm happy with. It's either slightly big or slightly small, and I really want everything to be as accurate as possible. So I leave approximately 1/2 inch. If you leave less than 1/2 inch, you're going to find yourself with a lot rougher edge when you start cutting your glass. So I line up the bottom, and the first thing I want to do is cut along the right hand side here. So the first thing you have to consider is the fact that your cutter wheel is in the center of your cutter head. So when I put this against the ruler, I'm going to have to make an adjustment for that particular consideration. So I use my ruler and I push it over until my cutter head is just going to run on the inside of that extended line. And then I do the same thing at the top, and I come back to the bottom and I do them both one more time just to get some good fine tuning. And then when you cut along a ruler, you just slide along it. If you're pushing against it, you'll find that your cuts will not come out as cleanly, and also they'll break off at a bit of an angle. You want to keep your cutter straight up and down, sliding along the ruler. So you can either use your hands to break off these bigger pieces, or of course running pliers. So now carefully line it up so you can see the inside of the line all the way along. And here we go. We now line up with these two lines, make my score. And I usually keep moving it around so that I'm always cutting up at about the same angle. As the piece gets smaller, it's a little more challenging to hold on to it. So there we have our first piece cut, and I'm pretty happy with that. I can see the black line all the way along, but it's not dramatically smaller, so everything's going to fit nicely. I have to have a bit of space between my pieces for the copper foil and later on for the solder, etc. So that worked really well. So I would just continue on cutting all of my glass pieces. This has a 4 sides, so I'm going to cut 4 of everything. I could take this piece now and use it as a template for the rest of my cutting. So for example, I could now take this and put it on top of my glass strip, trace around it, again using my fine tipped felt marker, and I could just use these lines now for my ruler rather than the pattern. That works just as well too, so you know, either one of those processes is good. So what I'd like to do is we're going to set up for soldering, and we'll be back in a second.